Welcome back to Mongo Fix. Mongo has a new problem. You remember the big Suburban, right? One of Mongo's early videos. So it was quite horrible, but still full of good info. Mongo was driving the big Suburban, and all of a sudden, the speedometer, it stopped moving. Now, for you younger folks at home, you probably don't understand, but modern speedometers have a little sensor in usually the output area of the transmission, or, for a four-wheel drive, the output area of the transfer case. That sensor sends the vehicle speed info to the computer, and then the computer sends a signal out to the actual speedometer, and that's what shows the speed you're going. Well, in these older trucks, they have an actual cable. It's a mechanical speedometer. So there's a mechanical link between that speedo and the sensor in the vehicle showing the speed. Something wrong with that system. Either the cable snapped, or the gear in the transmission's broke, or the speedometer itself is broke. Could be any of them. Start with just crawling under here. And there's the T-case, transfer case. And right there, this is the cable input for the vehicle speed, for your speedometer cable. And for fun reference for you young kids, when you change wheels tire size on these old trucks, you gotta pull this housing off and change the little gear inside there to match your tire size. Otherwise, the speedo's gonna be off. When we look around here at this cable, it looked like it fell down and resting right on the exhaust pipe. Yep, got too hot, and that cable's toast. So, Mongo needs a new speedo cable. So to get these off, this unscrews. Oh yeah, she was all sorts of tangled, messed up in there. It's nothing more than a cable with a square drive in there. Under the hood, here's the speedo cable from that output of the T-case. If it's just a two-wheel drive, it'll be in the output housing of the transmission. But it goes through the firewall right there, and up behind and into the back of the speedo of the gauge cluster. Now, there was two different things. If there was cruise control on the vehicle, then there'd be some sort of bracketry, and right up here, the cable would come out and go into basically a gear drive thing for the cruise control mechanism, and then a small cable would come out, go through the firewall there into the back of the dash. This is a non-cruise control model, so it's just one long cable. For this model Suburban with the four-wheel drive, there's the part number for this speedo cable application. But again, be sure you get the right one for your year, make, and model, and then whether you have cruise control or not. Now, to get the gauge cluster out the dash, first we gotta get this trim piece off, and there's a whole bunch of just Phillips head screws all over it. Yes, the truck's still a work in progress. Mongo has not worked on it much this past year, so that'd be a good New Year's resolution. Maybe Mongo get back on working on this project. For those of you who do know, this is the dimmer switch, they called it. Basically, this is your high beam switch for the headlights. Normally it mounted down there on the floor. Mongo don't like that position, because all of them Mongo ever used and seen, they all rot out and rust. So Mongo put it up on the dash, and it's a punching switch now. So anytime you get mad, punch the high beams. And once you get all those out, just real gentle, because this plastic real old. Oh, choke. Can't forget choke. Because you young kids probably don't know what choke is. And there's a gauge cluster. Gauge cluster's got a whole bunch of little 9/32 screws in here. But before we can get that out, we got to get the dash pad off. And of course, this one's just in great shape. Dash pad's got a whole bunch of 1/4-inch bolts and screws in the front here. And boy, Mongo's got a big list to do. He's still got to clean up that wiring, got to get a glove box in there. Yeah, Mongo's going to have to get back to work on this truck. Once you got those bolts out, this whole dash pad will kind of angle up. And then you just got to watch. Oopsies. Watch your ends. Yeah, it's kind of hard to wrestle with one hand. When you get two hands on it, then you can kind of just set it over there against the seat. And it's out of the way for now. Now we got good clear access. If you try to get it out while leaving that in, there's a possibility of breaking this plastic. And this plastic is from 86. That's 1986. So it's a bit old and fragile. Take these little 9/32 bolts out. Now we're just taking out these couple. This one down there. Don't have to worry about these. These are just the plastic cover. This one here. Not this one. That's just a little clear plastic cover. But this one. And that is it. Mongo's going to see if he can do this one-handed. But you got to kind of pry her out just a touch and lift up until you get that little piece above and over. There's an electrical connector back there as well, and then you got to shift her that way, and then you can pull it out. You got to be careful though, because there's a small cable here. This little small cable moves your gear selector thing from park, reverse, neutral, drive 1 and 2. So you can't go too far. You can disassemble it. My Mongo's hoping to just get enough to get behind there and get that cable out. So to help, we're going to release this, get some tension off that spring. And if we look at this from the side, this is the little hold down that secures the cable in place. So to get this off, you have to push that down and pull out the cable at the same time. Just like that. Yep, take that grommet out. And here comes the speedo cable. And now we'll pull the part of the transmission out. Yucky end. And then you can pull this apart. Yeah, that piece kind of slides right off that old piece. So we got the old one out and we sized it up with the new one, and it is the exact same length and everything. So Mongo did a good job guessing. That is the right part number, 100 inch. There is enough room to force that cable through the back of that hole. Gotta slowly work it around and then use, like a Phillips to pry the rubber around there and whatnot, but it will fit. Mongo knows, because Mongo just did it. But took 2 hands, couldn't hold the camera, plus that, plus and not enough room. So yeah. There it pops. Yeah, that much better. And then lastly, we'll feed this down to the transmission. That's that cable way down there coming through the grommet. So we gotta bring that up here now. And now we just gotta make sure it gets seated all the way in. You know it's fully seated when this little thing clamps around that first large indent or expansion area. Once it gets around that, then you know it's fully seated. And we just have to carefully, connector for the gauge is still plugged in for the lights and whatnot. Carefully just angle everything back just the way it was. Try not to force anything because it's all old plastic. Right there. Very nice. And we should be able to get our full. Oh, yeah, and that's going to break at some point. That's sticking pretty good. Now, if you wanted to confirm that the speedo cable actually seated all the way and working, you can bring the other end of the cable around here. And it's just a little square drive there. You can spin it. See how the speedo moves? So that confirms that the cable is attached and seated properly in the gauge cluster. Dash pad's installing is a little tricky. You gotta kind of get it around each side here, and then it's a down, push down and in, then pull it. It's kind of got to do a little whoop thing, So just double check, make sure, because there's a bunch of little metal tabs in the back. Just make sure it's seated all the way. And now that all that's in, we'll slide this guy in place. And you just gotta watch out, mostly because of Mongo's goofy stuff he's got going on, but you'll have to get around that little guy. And Mongo's not running that same old radio, so that's the choke. Because Mongo likes mechanical chokes. She's not seated back all the way yet. There that goes. Get around there. And that's all back the way it was. Now, take the other end of this cable and start sneaking it down there. Gonna do what we can from up top here, but pretty much get her around there. Make sure this is gonna wrap good. Something way down there like that, and then it comes up over here. Oh, there's a little loop we should go in over there. And then we gotta angle it around and feed it into there. Now you can see it's kind of blocked there, so you just gotta twist that a little bit so it lines into there. Doesn't have to be like insanely tight, it's just there to, hold. Guess Mongo will have to do something different. Last time routed it, I think it just hung too far over. Yeah, at some point Mongo's gonna have to make a custom heat shield for up there. But the way it routed, pretty good for now. Not gonna get in the way of the shift lever up there for the four-wheel drive. It's clear of the exhaust for now. Of course, it might get bumped and moved going down the road, but the way it's torqued over is pretty good. It's wrapped up there, yeah. Yeah, that should be fine for now. Well, I suppose it's time to go for a drive. See if it works. You wanna go for a drive with Mongo?
Well, yeah, we'll take Wander with us too. He probably wants to go for a little drive.
How to start an old truck with a carburetor. Put your key in, turn it to, 2 slow presses of the gas, and she fires. Well, we hit her again. Gotta get the old high idle stick going. Yeah, she's an old truck, so she's a little noisy. She doesn't have the interior, so it's a little loud. And she's a little bouncy, which means she's all around great. It's all capability and nothing holding it back. And Wander's just doing great up there. Yup, the 2024 Truck of the Year. Mongo's 1986 Suburban. Because all new trucks are horrible. Hey, the Speedo's working great. Fixed it. Odometer too. Because you need that cable to work the Speedo, and at the same time that works the odometer. So if the Speedo cable ever breaks, the odometer stops. Young folk today don't know, but in the old days, if you wanted to change your odometer, you just spun that Speedo cable backwards. Well, hopefully this video will help you if you ever got a broken Speedo cable or need to replace one or something. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. If you like this video and other videos from Mongo Fix, be sure to subscribe. Mongo always working on all sorts of stuff. Mongo, thank you.